Hello, everyone. Welcome to the pregame show, Texas versus Georgia. I'm Texas Homer, joined by Nash Talks Texas, Coach Dub, the Lando Show, and we're just going to hang out and talk about the game, what we want to see, what we don't want to see coming up. But first, join Inside Texas today, $1 for 1 month. We would love to see you over there. Awesome community, active, lively community, funny, smart, and of course, incredible writing, recruiting, analysis, team news. If you want to be a Texas super fan, that's the place you want to hang out. Gentlemen's, we've been waiting for this one really for probably since the SEC championship, and we get it back for round 3. Let's kind of just talk about the history there. And the funny part, the history is a year, but it feels like trying to get a budding rivalry going. But last year, game 1, they absolutely smoke us. Quinn Ewers, God bless him. They brought the heat on him, tore us up. That was probably that's the worst loss of us just being dominated I've seen since probably Arkansas. And then, of course, SEC championship.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe TCU. And then SEC championship, I thought we had a way better game plan. We couldn't finish when it mattered. Knocked out their quarterback, brought in a better quarterback, turns out. And then penalties killed us in that game too. So that SEC championship is the one that sticks with me far more than when they just beat us outright. But we get another opportunity, but this time it's in Athens.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, buddy.
TJ, what's up? Alan, Texas Made, Lando Show. Hey, what's up? All right, Joshy Manning, not going to be able to put that on there. Texas Fight, everyone.
I don't know what it was, but hey.
I had to bite my lip on that one too.
Yeah. So I have to be careful. I have a problem with like just putting up the comments when I'm halfway read through them. But all right, fellas, thoughts about the past year and kind of how that informs what you want to see. Of course, we'll go through our points, but just kind of quick thoughts, guys.
I just think it permeates well throughout, not just the college football playoff, the SEC title discussions, but the recruiting trail too. You know, it sort of permeates itself into that realm of things as well. So there's some bad blood, man. And I think like, not necessarily bad blood, but just a mutual level of respect for Kirby Smart to be en route to another SEC matchup and to be texting Steve Sarkisian. It's clear that this matchup, man, there's more to it than just last year's, 2-game series. This offseason, Texas's 2 wins in the recruiting trail against just Georgia's head-to-head, basically, right? But it's clear that there's a mutual level of respect for for Sark and for Smart and for their respective programs, for Kirby Smart to be messaging Steve Sarkisian literally on the bus. I've laughed at that all week as I've wrestled with how I feel about the matchup. It just goes to show you these two coaches. This game means a lot to both of these two coaches, and for Sark to get his lick back from the lack of wins in the regular season last year. And then for Kirby Smart, just continuing to compile upon what they've already done and using the recruiting trail as added energy and momentum or whatever, just to find those angles to get his team to get up for this game now that they're the favorite. I think Texas was the favorite in both of the matchups last year. So that's an interesting point of view as well. But yeah, man, we know that he's going to have them boys motivated one way or another, but just thinking about all the different ways in which that he could concoct a piece of bulletin board material it's fascinating for me.
Yeah. Texas is the new kid on the block, right? With the money and the resources, trying to dethrone Georgia, right? And having a weird season this year, but it's Georgia, the old guard, that's like, look, we're not done yet. And Texas trying to take that control of the power. It's an interesting dynamic. It's also a mind game for Kirby to text Sark that morning of the bye week, knowing he's about to kick Mississippi State's ass. So it's like you want to beat your friends worse than you want to beat anybody else. But that text message is also funny because it's friendly and it is kind of joking, but it's also like, hey, man, I'll see you next week. You know?
There's some psychological warfare at play, no question.
Yep. You know, the biggest thing I look at these teams from last year, this year, whatever, it's just finishing games, bro. Like, Georgia knows how to win. Like, you can have them on the ropes. It's like, man, where do they get this burst of energy from? It's like Sugar Ray Leonard. They start dancing out of the corner and throwing a flurry of punches. It's like, where was that all? What, 3.5 quarters? And so we got to find a way to finish games like this. I think that's the difference between Texas and Georgia right now. And so can we do it tonight? They're yet to be seen. I feel like we may get up early on these guys, but can we finish them, right? I think that's the key for me from last year and this year.
Yeah, I kind of look up to Georgia in that regard, right? Like, and that's what you need to take from them. Like, they're showing you what it takes to be a champion, and we're close, but we're not there yet. And so we just need to learn what they're doing. What were you thinking, Nash?
I was just gonna say, like, looking back to last year's matchups, I mean the game that we played in the regular season wasn't even close to start the game, and then the defense just kept us in that game, and it actually towards late in the third quarter, it actually was an 8-point ball game, and looking like it was potentially could swing towards Texas's favor, and then all of a sudden Georgia has a really big drive, answers, and that's the end of the game. But then you go to the SEC championship, then I mean, honestly, without the field goal kicking struggles, Texas probably wins that game. But even as is, I mean, Texas just finds a way to get that game to overtime and inch just a little bit closer to victory. I mean, just when you're looking at this, I think that another thing that people kind of gloss over is these coaches are competitive themselves, right? Like Steve Sarkisian,
Oh yeah,
he wants to win this game just as bad as the athletes on the field do. He wants to call the best game possible, right? Like he is
maybe more.
He's an athlete himself, right? So, I mean, this really to him, like this has probably been one of the games that he's circled on his calendar the most that he wants to do the best in, because I mean, really, this is probably personal to him. These last two games, just coming up just short the last two games, but I'm really interested to see how Steve Sarkisian approaches this game.
Me too. All right. Are you ready for some football? I in fact am. It's been a fun day of football as well. Start off with A&M, South Carolina. Hell of a comeback by them.
Oh, my
South
God.
Carolina, legendary fold maneuver. And
there's quite a few brain dead, questionable decisions from both teams in that matchup down the stretch that need to be discussed, but we can probably skip that.
Well, Sellers on that last drive, I'm like, dude, the one thing Camby do is taking sacks, and it's like they're sending the heat. Like it was just such a unaware performance by Sellers down the stretch, and that offense just sucks. Like I'm watching Harbor go full sprint though. That's an incredible thing, man.
Yeah.
Like and unfortunately the law did not appreciate it, but he was special, but they were just totally lost. In the first half, Drew Kelson made a really good point. He was just like, look, A&M can come back and win. And it's not that South Carolina is beating them with skill. It's that A&M is just doing everything wrong. And sure enough, they were able to come back. So good for them.
They're a good team. There's no question about that. Texas A&M is a good football team. But it just goes to show you how quickly things can spiral, especially when we consider it's 18 to 22-year-olds, man, where the moment can sometimes be a lot. And one mistake with athletes of their caliber, top 3 teams technically right now, like if we're being technical about their caliber, you try to press a little bit and you're like, okay, we just made a mistake. Let's go ahead and get it all back in one play right here. And that's sort of what you saw towards the end of the first half there, where everything just it went from a 20-3 deficit to a 30-3 deficit in a matter of seconds when you boil it down to the couple quick decisions that were or were not made, right? Just a couple poor plays. And it can teams are talented. Even the worst teams in this conference are talented. They can push you to the brink, as both of these teams know, as now A&M knows, right? So it is what it is. But I want to address this question real quick too, if we had time, Homer. And it said from Victor Santiago, I believe, will Sark be outcoached again by Kirby? Do we as a panel here, do we think that Sark was outcoached in the SEC championship game, or was it
not on the field, but he was outcoached in penalties?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. Was it 1/3, one of the 3 phases, not holding up its end of the bargain, and then self-inflicted mistakes in the form of penalties rearing their ugly head? What do you guys have any thoughts about that question there from Victor?
Game 1 totally outcoached.
Yes.
Like it wasn't. They got their
championship game specifically is what I mean. Yes.
Yeah. No, I didn't think they were schematically outcoached, but coaches need to make sure it's the SEC championship and your team comes ready to play and doesn't commit a ton of penalties. And that they failed to do that. I mean, now rewatching that game makes me angry. It's like my least favorite loss of Sark's era by far, because it was there for the taking, and lack of having your players mentally there is what lost that game, both in kicking and in penalties.
Well, and like you look at just the team just didn't look competitive out there. For as good as a game that we had and as close as we were, there was a lot of times where like you have the ball bounce off Isaiah Bond's hands, and he doesn't, and he just like as soon as it bounces off his hands, he's already given up on the play.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, there's an interception right there, and that was a big key play. There was a lot of plays where it just didn't, or not a lot, but there were a few key plays that it felt like we weren't entirely in that game, if that makes sense. Like our heart wasn't 100% in that game.
If you look at the big picture, you probably say no, but situationally, yeah, he got out coached. The fake punt, like you just didn't recognize, like the punter got hurt, and he brings like the dude can't punt.
Oh, don't bring that up, man.
Like it's the situational moments of the play calls. Kirby had his number. The interception. Luckily, Gunner just threw it out to Jadae Barron because there was no receiver out there. Otherwise, they run the clock out and they win. So it's like situationally, I feel like Kirby outcoached them. When it got down, when it was time to win the game, they made more.
That's Kirby outcoached everyone.
You know what I mean? So
I hate to be that guy too, but they're like luck was literally just on Georgia's side. Like we couldn't stop punching the ball out, but the ball just there was a ball that literally bounced out of the Georgia's hands and it just bounces right back to the wide receiver, bounces back to the guy that lost it. Gunnar Stockton on that last drive that he goes to tie up the game, Colin Simmons absolutely murders him. Unfortunately for Colin Simmons, he murdered him so violently that the ball rolled 30 yards out of bounds. I mean, it's just one of these deals where, and then there's the ball that was close to the goal line, I think, in overtime, where Michael Taft, he almost gets the ball and then he's like laying on top of it. And then all of a sudden the Georgia player, like there were 3 or 4 fumbles that could have easily gone Texas' way and completely changed the outcome of the game. But Georgia's, miraculously managed to survive.
Yeah.
Was it the coach's fault for not getting the team focused, or is it up to each individual to overcome their own personal obstacles? What do you guys think? I think it's both, but it's still the coach's fault. You get what I'm saying? Like, because you need to,
At the end of the day, if you get down to even if you want to put it on the player, it's on the coach for getting the wrong player.
Yes.
And if it's one guy that drops the ball, one guy that gets a penalty, it's like, sure, there's going to be individual players that make mistakes, but when the whole team looks like that, dropping balls, penalties, not being ready for the fake punt, not being ready for Gunnar Stockton to run a draw at the end when we know he's a running quarterback, like
not being ready for the backup punter.
Yeah. So that's just that's coaching. That's also, but I get it. Like, one player, it's on them, but when everyone's struggling like that, that's to me on the coaching.
So I'm gonna try to shed a little bit more light on that. So to that question, you mind pulling that back up again, Homer, real quick?
Yeah. I just didn't
to that question for Robert, the way that I process what you're saying, it's a great question. It's actually hard to put into words unless you've actually lived it yourself, right? So I'll try to do the best that I can and hope I'm not talking myself in circles, but these guys can help chip in if that's the case. Every individual is responsible at the end of the day. That is the ultimate finite. You got to get yourself ready and right. That's your obligation as what we would consider now this level of athlete, Power 4 college football players. They're professional athletes, for better or worse, right? Take it or leave it, like it or love it. That's really what they are. They're getting paid to play a sport now. Handle yourself like a professional. You owe it to yourself, but also to your teammates to do your job, your responsibility. Now, the flip side of that is at the end of the day, the better job you do as a coach all offseason, it starts, trust me, this begins in winter. And the winter, you got winter ball. You've got all summer. You've got fall camp, right? It's everything leading up to before the season even begins, where the more that you ingrain and instill the importance of the little things, the finer details into your team, the more strict and regimented and structured you are coaching those self-inflicted mistakes out of your team, the less likely you are to have these sorts of personal mishaps and big moments bite you in the butt. So it's it's both directions. Each player is responsible for himself, but the better the better job the coaching staff does all calendar year long in preparation. And it starts with things in the weight room. Don't skip your warm-up. Don't cut corners with your meal, your prehabilitation, your rehabilitation. Don't stay up till 2 a.m. after a rigorous, let's say spring game. My body's beat up. I stay up until 2 a.m. I don't recover well, and now I'm behind the 8 ball for the next week. Those types of things, right? So it's all these tiny little decisions, but the more that the coaching staff, the strength and conditioning staff, all the personnel involved with Texas football are coaching and instilling these little decisions. It's part of the culture discussion too, but the coaching staff, it's their job to coach those things out of them to reduce the likelihood of those mistakes happening. But at the end of the day, players have to hold themselves accountable. So
I agree.
That's a good point. It's both. It's all three. Well, the football coaching staff, the strength and conditioning staff, who really spends a lot of time with they build the toughness and attitude and everything else, right? Outside of the positional coaches and the head coach, whatever the case. And then, like you said, it is on every player. But it's preached through the week, like how focused you should be, game prep, everything. Like everything is there for you. Like you got all the PowerPoint presentations, the hype music, everything. Each and every day you get ready to go out and practice and prep for a game. So it's on the person, individual. If you ask me, like the coach can only do so much. It's more like a parent. You can raise your child right, but sometimes they go out there and they just do what they want to do. And sometimes individuals take other teams or other players lightly because they see a certain logo that I got this. You know what I mean? So it just really depends. I think it falls more on the player, but the coach is going to get the blame in the public eye.
Mm-hmm. To me, it's how widespread it is. If it's a couple of players, sure. Mm-hmm. If it's a lot of players, then you got to organize. If you've ever been in a bad company or bad management, you could have the most elite team, not even football team, group of humans. The managers aren't doing a good job, and you can't overcome that either. So it's really just about the depth of it, too, that kind of sticks out to me. Sorry, Nash.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's kind of almost like what I've been saying the last few weeks is the cliches are cliches for a reason, right? Like Coach Dub can say, like the amount of things that you end up repeating in practices, it's hilarious, right? Because it's almost it becomes monotonous, almost like you become robotic, right? But they work, like it works, like getting these guys focused. And this is one of these games where this is a cliche game, right? You want to you go the 110% effort, right? You do all these little things that coaches like to say. And, like to what Lando said, this is where if you don't cut corners in the off season, these are the types of games that maybe not cutting a corner, maybe that can be the winning difference between you getting the ball before Danny Stutzman hops on the ball in the end zone, right?
Yes.
So like this is it's one of these days or one of these games where you got to do every little thing right. So like what Coach Dub said earlier, like Georgia, they found a way to beat Texas, right? Like Texas hasn't found the way. Texas has found a way to be in the game. They haven't found a way to kill Georgia yet.
Or anyone, or Georgia, any top team.
But to kill Georgia or the top teams, and honestly, and that's the thing is we've always been right there, right?
Right.
We're right there, but we just can't kill them, right? And it's just one of these deals where they either maybe it's like a lack of killer instinct, right? Maybe it's that, but I think honestly it just comes down to doing the details, getting the devil in the details. And if you do these details right, you do the small things, you won't have that third down penalty against Ohio State on the road. And then now it's a 7-7 ball game, and then Steve Sarkisian, instead of having to try and call plays to get into the end zone, now he can go, you know what? I can just call plays. I got a guy that he's kicked a 60-yarder before, right? If we got the ball going with the clock running out, right? We can afford to say screw it, Hail Mary with a kick that's 50 yards or something like that. So it kind of completely changes Steve Sarkisian's like how he approaches the game plan at the end when we're in plus territory against Ohio State. But I mean, just the devil in the details. That's how you beat these top level teams, and you have to get all the details right.
Well, it's coaching, because really the talents become equal at these levels. It's the difference between being ranked 1 and 1st and 5th. That's 1 or 2 players. So really it's the coaching. And we're losing the fine detail coaching battles. And so this is the opportunity that we're going to discuss, both offense and defense, about how Sark can win that coaching battle. But before we do that, guys, let's hear a word from Academy.
Any gate can be a tailgate.
All right. This is what we want to see. Definitely not just a graphic I made. We all came up with this together. All right. So what we want to see, first things first for me, is spread it out. And it's tied with run sparingly. So Georgia's run defense, if you try to go interior on them, will shut you down. So it's a great way to stall your drives and not have any success and end up in 2nd and 10s and 3rd and 7s. So spread it out. I do not want to see 12 personnel. We do not have the players for 12 personnel. I don't even want to see it. So 11 personnel, spread it out. And that's going to be the big key for me. I thought Ole Miss was a good example. We'll talk about it, them attacking the perimeter. Ole Miss barely even tried to run inside. If you do run outside, try outside zone. I know they move laterally, but hit the perimeters, those kind of things. But mostly I'm talking about utilizing some type of screens to substitute traditional run. But, hey, if you line up and run it all over Georgia, God bless you, and I'll be gladly wrong. But that, to me, going into that is not the strategy. I think it's going to be pass heavy. That should be the focus. What do you guys think?
Yes, I mean it's not a secret when you just look at the box score. Like I almost never advocate for this, but you can look at the box score alone from that Ole Miss game where they played Georgia. Ole Miss surrendered 220 plus yards on the ground and still had Georgia on the ropes. Took them to overtime. Why do you think that is? It's because the reasons that you just laid out, Homer, and so clearly there is a formula, and that formula in particular caters perfectly to the new and improved Texas that we've seen over the course of 2 games now and a quarter, 2.25 games. But only 1 game in total with that new and improved identity matched and paired with a revamped new look front 5. So that's why, to me, I said yesterday, this game, everything about it feels weird because there's so many different things that it's almost too many coincidences lining up for this matchup. It's tough to separate what to expect based on what we've seen, because what we've seen isn't technically who Texas currently is. So that's where I've just had a weird wrestling match all week long about this whole deal here. But anyway,
unfortunately,
I'm gonna pass the torch back to Coach Dub on this one.
Well, it looks like OU is about to beat Bama
again.
Yeah.
TV lives, huh? Whatever.
They just stopped them on 4th down, and they're getting the ball back with 50 seconds left. So, man, A&M, we better win. It's gonna be A&M, OU, and then we better win.
Was that a speed out, like a speed out to the field on 4th down that I just saw right there?
Yeah, it looked like, I don't know what the route was, but it was short and to the field. And oof. But
that's a tough throw to hang your hat on, like in a do or die gotta have it moment. But
Simpson's
I know
nice.
Ty Simpson, obviously, if anybody's capable of hitting that throw, it's probably him. But still,
yeah. And I would target their corners if I had to make it happen. But all right, Coach, what do you think strategy wise, particularly with spreading it out and playing 11 personnel in that style?
Yeah, I think you definitely spread them out, and you can have some. I wouldn't call it 12 personnel looks. You kind of go bunch. You can have 2 receivers out wide, but then you have your tight end and another receiver maybe flex, or you can call it nasty formation where they're kind of flex, or it looks like they're a wing and a tight end, but they're receivers. I think Georgia loses those guys a lot. If you look at Mississippi State, look at Alabama, man, they were able to run right down the seam and split the cover too. And people run down the middle wide open. So I think you got to spread them out and kind of confuse them with formation. Don't just spread them out and say, hey, we're going 2 by 2, whatever the case. They can figure that out. But you got to kind of mix it up when you go spread. And then try to run out of that. Try to gain some numbers advantage. Use Archer's legs when you're out there sparingly. I don't want to run them too much. But I think you got to spread them out to run. Try to run on the perimeter. Quick screens, stuff like that. I know we've been running that to Wingo a lot. They're probably going to blow those up. So you got to have something off of that. Maybe a fake bubble, stock block, and then receiver go down the middle, or kind of like last year, DeAndre Moore, fake like he was going to block it and cut back inside for a slant. Like you got to have something else set up because they're going to take away the short game. I feel like Georgia, they haven't been that well tackling in space this year, but for some reason when they play us, they learn how to tackle all of a sudden. So can we make them miss and get yards after the catch is going to be the biggest thing, because the ball's going to come out quick. We're going to spread them out. But can we do anything? Can we catch a 3-yard slant and then break it off for another 5 yards? That's what made us so successful versus Vandy, Mississippi State. We were breaking tackles. If we can do that versus Georgia, we give ourselves a chance. If we don't, we catch the ball for 5 yards and it's 3rd and 5 every single time because we're not breaking any yards after the catch. It can be a very, very long night for us. And so that's what I'm looking for. When you spread them out, is to get your athletes in space, but can your athletes be athletes and make the other guy miss? That's going to be the huge difference.
Do you think
Coach Dub, did you hear what Eric's report was about from his sources, mentioning obviously leaning into what we know now works very well for Texas, but it's no secret. But then adding schematic wrinkles into spread concepts, some things that we haven't seen yet. I've been kind of racking my brain on what some of those things may or may not be, but thought that was interesting to hear Eric bring that to light today.
Yeah,
I didn't go back and read
same with defensive wrinkles. He said, "Here's my thing: are they going to play off or not? Some games they do, some games they don't."
Right.
Oh, I got some thoughts on this one. Keep going, Homer.
If they play off, Ole Miss said, "Great, we're going to take you for 5 up and down the field," and they did. They would just throw it outside. And remember in the SEC championship game, Sark did take that. We started hitting comeback. That's the offense that I begged Sark to have that he would just never utilize. So, but also if I'm Georgia, I like the aggression. Like the aggression worked for me last year. Now, look, we don't have the same personnel, right? Or the same production as far as like interceptions, sacks. I get that. But pressing Texas is also interesting to me. So it might be different. But if they're playing off, because here's the thing, you can play off when you get sacks and interceptions. If you don't, you just let teams drive up the field super easy. So if they want to play that style without any real production from their defense this year, then great. We just have to take it. But that's my big thing. But my guess is that they're gonna jump up on us. We just have to see.
Yep, I agree.
With that, I actually don't know if they're going to be encouraged to copy and paste what worked last year, or should they be, in my opinion, the more likely outcome is that Georgia is more who they have been all of this season and less who they were last year against Texas in particular, pressing and getting in the face of these receivers, knowing that in man coverage, oftentimes that means that you're sending pressure. So you got an extra man at the line of scrimmage rushing the passer, but then that also means that you're in man coverage, obviously, and then you got your back in many cases turned to the quarterback. And now Quinn Ewers is a much different athlete in the pocket and with his legs than Arch Manning is. So I wonder if that would discourage Smart from using the length and the athleticism that all of his DBs possess, particularly at the cornerback position, just to disrupt the timing. I wonder if, because he knows, it's clear as day, anybody who knows what they're looking for at the quarterback position or just an objective evaluator of the sport of football, when you watch Arch Manning play, you know, regardless of what you think about his accuracy, regardless of what you think about his athleticism, regardless of what you think about his last name, the one thing that nobody can dispute that he does at an elite level is make the first man miss. It's sensing pressure, navigating the pressure, and still delivering amidst the pressure, extending plays, right? The improvisation. That's what you can't dispute with Arch. But Kirby knows this, and I wonder if he knows, as proficient as Arch has been all season long, as sensing the pressure, making the first guy miss, is a 5-man pressure going to be worth the risk of vacating a zone or risking a chunk play with your receivers and man covers, turning your back to the quarterback? I don't know. And I had another thought. I forgot what that was during that discussion there. So you guys continue, and then I'll bring it back up.
I'm gonna jump in this one real quick. The rest of the guys who rush Arch wasn't CJ Allen. He don't miss in space. CJ Allen will light every quarterback. He's gonna hit you.
You press like man, and you just leave Allen there as the spy, and you can get the best of both worlds too.
Also, for the first time I've seen Georgia play press and then the corner, kind of like we got picked off last year. At the last second, he turns horizontal and he's playing cover 2 trap. So just because they're pressing, they may be in cloud 3, press bail 6. You don't know. It's just to throw timing off because we want to get the ball out so fast. If I'm throwing the timing off, you don't know if I'm not playing man. I can make it look like man all day. And I think we're going to get O2 Kirby. I wrote about it. If you go back and look at this defense, even at Alabama as a DC, man, they would press and throw timing off. And he had, 3 deep, 4 under, or they were mixing with Tampa too. they were always bringing a pressure from the linebacker. Rolando McClain, Dante Hightower, C.J. Mosley. He's always done that and let the big guys eat blocks, especially if you don't have 2 first-round edges who can get there like you had last year. You got to use everybody else. But how do you do that without exposing yourself? If I know anybody who can kind of self-scout themselves and say, let me fix these holes, I feel like Kirby can, right? And so he may blitz a linebacker, but it's going to be a safety. Somebody's going to be rocking and rolling, replacing that linebacker. And you just got to be smart and not throw into a trap coverage and let him confuse you, kind of like he did Quinn last year a ton.
Or just show, hey, I'm CJ Allen. I'm at the line. I'm blitzing. The line is going to account for it. Now I'm getting the numbers. Okay, guess what? At post snap, I'm CJ Allen, and I sit here. And if Arch tries to run, my guys have advantageous matchups. If Arch tries to run, I'll tackle him. Like, so there's – but Lando got my brain on it. Quarterback scramble. That's going to be a huge factor. Georgia has struggled with that. Like, there's good tape of Ty Simpson as well. They also get out of their rush lanes. They're a little bit desperate to get sacks this year, but they're kind of having to send the linebackers, like you said. First, if you vacate the linebackers and send them, everything in breaking is open to the quarterback. It's not Arch's best throw for sure, but it's there. But quarterback scrambles, I don't think designed run is really going to be great. Chambliss could do it for Ole Miss with like a direct snap. So maybe, but Chambliss is twitchier than Arch. And so I think quarterback scramble is how you're going to get your yards, though, because they do get out of their lanes. But I wanted to hit that.
Yeah. I don't want to see a lot of run plays called today, unless it's like Oklahoma and like we're getting like, oh wow, wait, we're getting it, like
yeah,
okay, like unless it's like that, then I want all of our rushing yards coming from passing plays where wide receivers were covered and Arch Manning said, oh, hey, that's open. Let me take that, right? And at the same time, please, for the look, we get it. You're tough. You're competitive. We know that. Okay, no one's questioning it. Slide, bro.
Slide early.
Don't take the hit.
Please don't.
You get the first down, hit the deck. Right? We're good on the extra 5.
So the take what is given, we already hit on it. If they're playing off, take it. Now, if they are for real playing, man, for real, okay, then take your shot. But this game to me is about consistency, and Georgia's allowed teams to be consistent on defense, and through their lack of big plays and through how they choose to handle the secondary. But it's about taking what is given. Sark doesn't always do that. Sark's often trying to build to this grand moment and score, right? So it's like he's 10 plays ahead in a bad way. Like he's not like living in the moment and like really seeing what they're doing and calling that. What he's doing is he's showing up in personnel and formations that he anticipates he'll give certain looks to. Then when he gets the looks, he's slowly moving pieces around. So 4 plays later, he can hit the play he's been trying to work towards. That's great when it works. It looks incredible when it works. It works 1 out of 10 times. So I need him to actually look at play to play. What are they doing? How can we take advantage of them this play, opposed to always saying, well, in 10 plays, if they do X, I can do Y. I need him to be more in the actual down as a play caller versus
he is actually playing chess, whereas you want him to play checkers, more checkers. You want him to be more in the moment, in the move. Like, he's out here like, I'm okay failing 3 times as long as the 4th time is the one that hits, right? And like to kind of your point earlier, like this is where like I'm surprised like the fan base didn't like eat him up over this like more, because he's kind of like almost proved that it's true. After the Kentucky game, he's like, hey, I can have an offense that goes out there and scores a lot of points, but we don't. That's not who we want to be.
Yeah, it's
right. We want to run the game, and we want to control on defense, and then like it's like you're like, okay, yeah, that's all fun and all, and then you see it the next week versus Mississippi State when we're down and we have to bring it out, and it's like, well, where was that?
Well, he said some strange things too. He's like, why is the offense clicking? He's like, well, we've really grown and we've gotten to a point. It's like nonsense, man. You could have thrown a screen to Wingo, play one game. Yeah. You got out of your own way, and good for you. But you basically lost to Florida for no reason at this point. And so that's what annoys me. And so it's like, look, it's not about the team maturing and finally figuring out these plays are simpler than what we've been running. And so that's the part that annoys me. I'm glad he saw it now, but it's not the reason Texas is finding success is not because of the growth of young players. It's because the offensive coordinator stopped trying to do all the stuff he was trying to do.
Agreed.
No, and really, if you want to bake it down to really what it comes down to, the Mississippi State and the Vanderbilt games, those are games that we're actually just getting the ball. No, we didn't get Vanderbilt him a lot long for Vanderbilt. Ryan Wingo, getting the ball in his hands. He is a yak monster. But the problem is he's only caught 30% of the balls leading up to those games. So like it's one of these deals where we just need him. If we have an on point, he's catching all the footballs, Ryan Wingo, this offense is humming. And it's good. It's a fun offense that you'd be seeing the ball move down the field. But the problem is he just has not caught those passes. And a lot of these times it's come on third downs and in the red zone where you remember it the most.
Yeah. I don't think Georgia give up the bubble screen. I think they're going to blow the receiver up.
I would know that that's one of our
last 3 weeks they've been on point.
Yeah, and I think he gives motion. Like the way Vandy did it, they blitzed the nickel and had a linebacker trying to get out there at the guy. That was never going to work. That was a bad scheme. That was a bad thought process. I don't know what they were thinking, but it worked against Mississippi State. As long as you ran it from the big 6'4" corner over there, because you ran it to his side, it probably wouldn't have worked. But Georgia got length and they got strength on the outside. Bubble screens usually don't like.
They're not very productive.
They're not very productive versus Georgia the way they play, and so because they blow it up, you got to get them off something. You got to show bubble and run something else off of it, and maybe they'll bag off and wait till they bag off, maybe try to get it, but they're gonna try to blow that up immediately. I don't think. If we try to do it, man, we better have something else to counter it right away. Please don't.
Or take the loss a couple times because you're just waiting to go after. It's like I can see the investment strategy of like trying to work them down and then go, but don't do it for 3 quarters, waiting for it to work in the 4th quarter, which Sark will do. Like you test it out early, and if they're killing it, then figure out something else. But
it reminds me of the
Texas fans.
The OU game. He started out with almost a quick screen bubble screen against OU. It worked on Worthy the first year. It never worked for the next 3 years. Like, hey, they're not giving it up. Stop. Do something else.
Texas fans have a love-hate relationship with bubble screens here.
Greg Davis did that.
Yeah, no.
Well, I'm actually
a lot of hate coming from that one. Well, I do have some theories on that with Mac Brown not allowing Greg Davis to call plays.
I'm a screen hater. I'm a known screen hater. I think they're super inefficient. But if you can't run on the interior, which we can't, then you have to at least stretch the field horizontally. And then, like I said, hopefully you have a second layer off of that where Wingo shows hands, the guy bites, and then he takes off, right? Like you have to have answers for it. But if I'm Kirby, I know that that's how Texas is getting it going now, and I'm going to try to stop that at a base level.
Which is why Homer, I think that Texas is actually going to have a little bit more success running the football than most people are willing to give them credit for.
Hopefully. Hopefully, it's just this rushing offense
because
sucks.
Kirby's going to take away the most efficient option and the only option that has really had success or that has seeded success for Texas at an explosive level. We know that Trayvon Wisner, he's going to get what's blocked up for him. He's going to be proficient on third downs and pass pro, and he's going to be a quality outlet with good hands. He's going to try to maximize things, but he may or may not create explosive plays just as a pure running back on first and second down. So if I'm Kirby Smart, I'm taking that into account and trying to allocate more resources to stopping what Texas does best. And so that's where the chess match comes in. All right, Texas is going to at some point have to go get 2 or 3 tough yards. At some point, you're going to have to stop trying to finesse and east and west your way around this team, and you're going to have to say, okay, if I want to win this football game, I'm going to have to be the low man, win with power and pad level, and I'm going to have to go and get it. And so bow your neck, go get me 2 yards at some point, right? That's once again, it's a decision that's made on Monday. So.
But that's what's really, we talk about coaching, but that's really why Texas hasn't been able to get over the hump versus these good teams is we don't have that. We don't have it on the offensive line, and we don't have the backs for it. So like the off-field reason is coaching. The on-field reason is particularly that. Then when it was time to get 2 yards, we could never do it because our guys aren't strong enough, their technique isn't good enough, and our backs aren't dynamic enough. And so that's the thing. And I hope that happens. But I don't know, man. I'm not betting on it.
No, you shouldn't. We have no reason. There's no reason for us to bet on it. I'm just saying.
But that's what you need to do. You're not wrong.
Yeah, it's been a problem since 2023. I mean, you look back to when we were sticking Byron Murphy and Tavondre Sweat in there, just like hoping that their big bodies were going to cause a hole to open up because it's just like, hey, like it's almost like the same theory as like wake surfing behind a boat. You get the bigger the boat, the better the wake to surf. But I mean, I don't know, man. It's just we've never been a good short yardage team, and that's one of the reasons why our red zone percentage has suffered the last few years.
Yeah. So score often.
If they're showing a light box, I need to get 4 yards on 1st and 10.
Yeah, but that's Georgia's specialty. Like that's Kirby's whole clinic is that the whole point
especially
of
with the second level pursuit, especially.
Yeah, they're like the whole thing is that's what makes Georgia elite is like we defend from a light box, so we put more guys in pass coverage and we stop your run. Like that's the Georgia defense. So hopefully, all right, score often and consistently. So Georgia's going to come back in the second half. We've seen that a bunch. So if you get up early, that's great. I'm not going to say don't get up early, but you need to score in the third and the fourth as well. And so that's going to be the big key is no letting off the gas and then no guarantees on how the defense performs today. So I need a good performance from the offense, and I need it when it matters, not just in the first quarter type of thing. And then don't let Georgia be productive. It's strange looking at this defense because they're actually still pretty good, like in their efficiencies. They're like a 20-ish defense, right? So good. But they don't have sacks. They don't have interceptions. They don't have tackles for loss. They don't have drive killers. So Texas is one of the worst in the country in penalties, right? The only drive killers on paper is if Texas does it to themselves. So you need to be tight. And you can't give them 10 yards negative because they haven't been able to get it. Now, I think Georgia is going to be aware of that. They didn't play how they played against anybody else in game one versus us either. They played quite differently. So I expect them to go more hardcore and try to find the pressures and stuff, but don't let them get going. They haven't gotten going versus anyone else, but everyone's outperformed their sacks versus us minus Vandy, right? Like, so teams look better versus us for whatever reason, but make them stick to what their stats are with everyone else, and you can have a far easier day on offense.
I mean, that's like one of the kind of the weird things about Georgia is you would expect them to be a high penetration team that's going to get a lot of sacks and a lot of tackles for loss. Even if you look at just pure run and you take away the passes and scrambles and you take away sacks out of the equation, Georgia, they only have 21 tackles for loss, which is tied for 90. Like that's like in the 90s. And
11 total sacks, right?
Yeah, 11 total sacks, and it's one of these deals where they're not a team that like, and that's one of the scary parts about their run defense. Like they got a legit wall. Like they're not going to tackle you. They're not going to tackle you on your side of that wall. But good luck getting past that wall because they're also one of the highest defenses at not allowing you to get 10-plus yard runs. So they're tackling a ton of guys in that 10-yard area, past the line of scrimmage to the 10 yards. And this is going to be a team that, man, it's going to be really, really hard to get anything on the ground and specifically, like y'all said, through the middle.
I will say this. I thought Mississippi State was their most complete game they've played, and the defensive line actually got pressure. They got multiple sacks, but you saw not running past the quarterback. They were kind of running, get the level and then fold back. And it's kind of like, oh, maybe they're starting to get it, which I don't want that. I don't want it to start clicking for them all of a sudden, but right. Like a number of sacks, but that defensive line looked a lot better against, I know it's Mississippi State, but still, man.
Yeah, well, I know it's just Texas right now. Like,
the thing is, Mississippi State has a horrible offensive line, but so does Texas, right? Yeah, and so it's like, so that's what I'm saying. Like we say all this, like Georgia hasn't been productive, but we're talking about the idea of Texas versus what Texas is. Texas offensive line is not very good, so they should outperform all of their averages versus us. I know we had one game of offensive line, but I don't buy it. And so I need to see
this is show me something game.
Well, I'll trust the offensive line by the time the season is over because I need to see multiple games. So when the season's over, I'll tell you if I trust the offensive line. But
it's just such a weird place to be. That's why I said everything about this game feels weird because for Texas, their best sample was also by far their least frequent sample.
Yeah,
one game, like Homer just mentioned, it doesn't do anything for you as far as confirming anything. So it leaves this massive gray area of, okay, you're really, really good when you do this, but you've only had to do this. You've only done this 1 week. So what are you now? It's a weird place to be. I'm just, man, I'm fascinated to see it all come play out. I'm tired of talking about it, to be honest.
I'm ready.
Dude, we're getting real close, man. Like game time's coming.
All right, we're going to talk the defensive keys, but first, let's hear a word from Academy. The holiday season is here, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has the legendary gifts you need at undefeatable prices every single day. Shop in store or online at academy.com to save on gifts on everybody's list, from football jerseys and basketball hoops to fire pits and deer stands. The most wonderful time of the year happens here. This Christmas, give the gift of fun from Academy Sports and Outdoors. Thank you, Academy. All right, let's look at defense for our defense. And these are what we want to see. First things first, to stop the run. You hear a lot about Gunnar Stockton, right, or Zach Branch, or the tight ends. This is a rushing offense, and they've had really good success with it, and that's what everything is built on. This team occurs at the line of scrimmage, and they do it through short game, both run and the pass, and they do it through their ability to be consistent, known as success rate. That's why Georgia's good. So stopping the run slows down everything that comes off of that, because they're really good with misdirection and getting you out. You'll see be disciplined, because they're going to use all these actions and set up all these things to catch you slipping. We're talking about Sark needing second and third layers of plays. Georgia's been brilliant at that this year. They have plays off of plays off of plays, and that's the big thing. But if you stop the run, hopefully that breaks it. Now, the flip side is, when you stop the run, you incentivize teams to go to the pass, which is the more efficient way to play football currently. And the secondary has been sketchy. So there's a part of me that doesn't want to completely shut down the run and make them start throwing it all over the yard, because I don't trust the secondary. That's 0.3. But I think you frustrate this run offense enough, Georgia has to get out of their play style and act a little bit more desperately. They're not as dangerous in 3rd and 7. They're incredibly effective on 1st and 10, 2nd and 4. That's how Georgia beats you. So you might see a 5 if they go from 1st and 10 to 1st and 5, and you'll go, that was just 5, or 2nd and 5. You'll go, well, that was just 5 yards. Nope, Georgia's currently beating you, because that's how they win. So that's the big thing. So stop the run, first things first, stop the backs, and they will spread you out, and they run effectively from just 5 offensive linemen. That's a big key too. So that's my first thought, gentlemen, when it comes to what our defense needs to do.
Man, we had a hard time tackling Jaden Ball. Look, Bowens is hard to bring down. Now, the other guy, he sometimes, like, he reminds me of the Forrest Gump. They got to put a sign up telling which way to run, because sometimes he's like a good
frantic. Yeah, he's frantic.
He's hard to bring down too. And you add that with Gunnar Stockton. You mentioned a couple of times, he knows when to pull on the read option. Like, it's like, man, it's like to a science. Gunnar Stockton has that down. Then everything they build off of it, you really got to play discipline on defense. Colin Simmons, you can't go inside. You cannot give up contain. I know you make a ton of plays, but you can't give up contain. Whoever comes in, you can't give up contain. Linebackers, I think this has got to be your best game. I know everybody talks about the secondary, but linebackers, you're at the second level pretty much. You can't be too quick to shoot gaps, because the tight end's going to leak right behind you, or Branch is going to have a quick crosser coming across. Like, you got to be disciplined. You got to kind of slow play and make sure you pay attention to what you're actually seeing and understand what you're seeing. Don't just be in a hurry just to go stop the run so quick, because Stockton's like accurate, with the tight ends across the middle. They make everybody pay with that. And so we got to be disciplined, man. And secondary, I know Taft and Jelani's coming back. The holes in cover 3 match 3 where we play are still there. It doesn't matter that
it's a schematic loss. Yeah.
It is. It's they may line up. Taft may get everybody lined up, but it didn't matter. Kentucky found holes. Like, there were holes since week 1. Can you take advantage of it? Florida took advantage of it. We know Mississippi State did, even without Taft. Georgia can take advantage of it. So I wonder what we're going to do on defense. Are we going to get more man look, maybe too high and not play so much match 3? I don't know, but I'd be curious to see what we actually play versus Georgia, because if we come out of match 3, Gunnar Stockton will have a career day. And that's
those tight ends are going to eat us alive.
Have a career day.
Yeah. And so that's the thing, especially just generally speaking, Coach, and you can attest to this as well as anybody can, but also playing off of what Eric said earlier today, just with his insider notes and nuggets, that in general, when you know that a team leads the SEC like Georgia does in pass attempts behind line of scrimmage, that means that they're getting the ball out quick at a conference record-setting rate, right? And Texas is doing the same thing at their peak success levels. But it would behoove you to necessarily, especially if that is the case, and you know that that's the case, that's their strength, to disrupt the timing of their strength, which is getting the ball out quickly, right? Especially on situational downs and distances, like I mentioned earlier in the chat. I was trying to convey that. I know that it's in PK's best interest to let his unit that consists of guys like Colin Simmons and Anthony Hill, like first-round draft picks all over the place, right? Keep them bend but don't break, right? Give those guys a chance to make a negative play, get your defense in a favorable third and long situation, and you roll the dice and you like your chances. But if I've got Colin Simmons, Ethan Burke, Lance Jackson, Brad Spence, all those guys out there, Trey Moore, creating havoc, rushing the passer on a third and long situation, I don't want to play a soft zone coverage because there's complementary football, offense and defense, but then there's also complementary football, D-line and secondary. You can complement your own personnel within each individual unit if you are selective, but also timely and effective with your decision making. And to me, that's being a little bit breaking tendency in a big game is always a critical component. It's something that you have to do in most cases to win games like this, especially on the road when you're a 7-point underdog, right? At least that was prior to this morning when we woke up. But I think PK is going to have to get a little bit more aggressive. He's going to have to get outside of his comfort zone with his coverage and disrupt timing. Even if you get beat, technically, like if a guy has a step to the boundaries, is where Gunnar Stockton has proven this year to be less effective over the middle of the field because of the tight end situations, right? We just talked about hammering those seams. That's where he's going to get you. So yeah, challenge the boundary, disrupt the timing on the boundary, and crowd the middle of the field, and then allow your pass rush to hopefully get in there and hunt and make some plays for you on third down. I think they're going to have no other option but to do that. Otherwise, you risk a power run game, staying on script, and you know what I mean? You're just giving them rhythm.
Yeah.
You're handing it to them.
Yeah. Hey, Lando, I will say this. There's one kid, and I know they haven't been on rhythm. He got one touchdown versus Tennessee. But if you leave London Humphreys one-on-one with any one of our corners, it ain't deceptive speed. London Humphreys can run by anybody in our secondary. They brought him from Vanderbilt for that because he's a deep.
It's not white guy speed. It is legit. Yeah, it's legit.
I've seen him in person. Yeah. He burnt us in the secondary unit every now and granted, we didn't have the fast DBs, but he went to Georgia. He can do the same thing. He can run by SEC DBs with these. They haven't been consistent. I don't want this to be the game where you thought they're giving us one-on-one with Humphreys or Noah Thomas, who's finally been playing now 6'6". Great, and then they start killing us on the outside too. So I'm interested to see how we mix and match. I like having
chess match is crazy.
Hey,
it is.
Yep.
Look, this is the ultimate white guy matchup. Then Michael Taft versus London Humphreys.
That's the worst matchup. I'd never take that matchup.
The coach on the field versus the athletic white.
Yeah, the athlete beats the coach. That's why the coach is not on the field. But they have a lot of personnel, man. Like you have Delp, you have Lucky, like you said, you have London Humphreys. Colby Young's out, he was their true contest guy. But you bring in Noah Thomas. Of course, we see what Branch can do in the screen game. You have to tackle him. If you miss a tackle on him, he can go. And then they have Dylan Bell, who they use all over the field. So Georgia, it's not like the crazy wide receiver groups that you think of, but they have a really good mix and blend of coverages, and their 12 personnel tight ends are legit 12. This is what Sark wants to do. Those guys for real block. Like those are good blockers.
Yes.
And then they go out, and what's really frustrating is, and DBs are guilty of this, they'll think that they X their guy out because they're standing next to him. Therefore, he won't throw it. Gunner throws it. If you can be standing right next to the tight end, it does not matter. He's going to throw it at you. Yep. And DBs can just think, my man is now officially guarded. I am near him. And Gunnar Stockton doesn't think like that whenever they are targeting down the field. So you're going to have to win one-on-one with some of these tight ends too. Yeah. And you're at a disadvantage. So, heads up. And so that's going to be a big thing for me as well. But Landon made the best point of that and Paul brought the stat. I can't remember. I'm making it up at this point, but he's like 90% over the middle. Yeah. Like he's deadly there. So if you can keep guys in the middle, but most importantly, like Coach said, mix and match, you can't let Georgia know what they're going to see constantly. That's going to be the big factor schematically. But you're right. I don't like cover 3, which is our base coverage versus this team specifically.
Break tendency, baby.
And we'll see. Eric said we will have defensive wrinkles, and then a guy that hasn't been a starter might be a starter depending on the package we come out in. So,
hey, PK's a wizard.
Hopefully. But,
Yeah, hopefully.
but yeah, that'll be the trick.
Homer's been burnt by Texas Longhorns one too many times.
Yeah. Well, I'm suspicious of the coaching, and so it's like I'm not even talking PK. I'm suspicious of the secondary coach. And I'm suspicious of the linebacker coach because these linebackers don't know what the hell's going on when they're in coverage, no awareness. And so that's why I say linebacker and secondary communication. That'll improve with McDonald and Taft, but I can put all pro safety, and if I put them in the wrong spot, it doesn't matter. So it's like it's not all on players here, and that's why I'm a little suspect because I don't feel great about some of the coaching and scheme I've seen, especially situationally.
I know we're not talking about the offense anymore, but I just what you said about stopping the run made me look up something for the Texas offense. We just don't need to worry about running the football versus Georgia. Georgia, out of all the games that Steve Sarkisian's coached at Texas, which is amounted to 64 games so far, the 2 worst games running the football yards per carry wise have come versus Georgia.
Yep.
We ran 1.07 yards per carry, and when we met them in October, and then we bumped that up to a whopping 1.11 yards per carry. And
That's real.
December. So just like
less than 50 combined.
Forget about the run.
yards.
So Steve, the run doesn't exist. It's not even in the play sheet. Just don't even call it.
And it won't exist if you do run. That's my thing. It exists.
No, it won't. Yeah, no.
It doesn't exist, period. And so that's a big
wipe
thing.
it. Like we need a Men in Black it from his brain. Just like run doesn't exist.
But the secondary and linebackers do have to be aware if we do get up and they are a second half team, and that's coaching on Smart's part and Bobo's part is these guys make real adjustments. Like a lot of the times we overplay this coaching. If you've seen what coaches are really doing, a lot of it is not just like sitting there scheming. There's like you're trying to do some pragmatic stuff, but they legit do make big changes, and they have a very sober approach and not an arrogant approach. They're not like we're Georgia, therefore it'll work in the fourth quarter. They'll make tweaks. And so I need the secondary and the linebackers, if the offense does have a good day, to know that, hey, they're about to come out swinging with good scheme, good execution. We can't have that Vanderbilt comeback type stuff going on. McDonald and Taft being back are a big factor, but it's not 100% of the factor. So,
I mean,
for the full game.
Leona Lafau is my defensive player that I wanted to see play the best. Like when we did the round table, and to me, that's because if we lock down the middle of the field, that makes me feel really good about Georgia if we got our linebackers, especially Leona Lafau, playing at a high level.
Well, that's why I'm frustrated with linebackers, right? Because Ty Anthony Smith and Lafau have gotten worse.
And they're capable. That's
the point, is that they are capable athletes. I've seen them play well. Why are they not playing? Why are they looking worse week in and week out? That's coaching and that's scheme. So do a good job with these guys. I know they're players. So if I know they're players, who's it on? And so that's what I want to see. And I want to see them be aware of what's going on around them. These aren't dumb players either. So that's something that is really key. Win field position and the turnover battle.
Yes.
And Texas has the advantage both on turnover margin and field position. We're really good there. Like we're one of the top teams in both. And so that's been a saving grace when our offense couldn't work at all. Do that because you're up against a defensive coach, man, and that's what they want to win is field position and turnover battle. Hey, man, no penalties, field position, turnover battle. Now you got a shot, right? And more than a shot. I know we're making Georgia sound like they're Georgia they're not. I'm more concerned about the Texas Longhorns being inconsistent. If this was Texas last year going into this game, I would feel much better about it.
Well, last year Georgia wasn't Georgia of the past, but then they show up looking like the '85 Bears both times.
There's that factor too.
Hey, until proven otherwise, they are the Georgia of they are 2021, 2022 Georgia, and I'm not going to be told otherwise.
Yeah, that is so true.
Their defense just shows up plays. It's almost like Kirby Smart himself is competitive as well. I don't know, crazy.
I thought we were going to wear them out in the SEC championship game based on the Georgia Tech games. Like, oh, we got this figured out. Georgia Tech can do this. And all of a sudden,
8 overtimes.
Man, come on, what is this? So, but they do play outside zone better than most teams because they play vertical line of scrimmage. They don't play down line of scrimmage.
Yep.
They push everybody back vertically. So the outside zone, they kind of cut it off. But they play it a lot different, man. And so I think they're going to take that away. They're going to give us They may give us a bare front. They may not. I don't know, but
Well, here's some sugar because there's been a lot of realism this live, but behind the scenes, source people feel good about this game. Like that Sark has been plotting on this game, that they have
As do I.
wrinkles,
Yeah.
you know, and so it's like it's me that like I'm not sourced, so it's like I'm just going off of what I see and that, and you guys know I'm more cynical than the average person, anyways, right? But it's a lot of people that I talk to have been really positive about this game and think the game plan is going to be Sark's, strongest yet. And that Texas is going to come out there and fight. But I've just, like I said, it's hard to love again. I've been hurt, and so I hope that's the case. But it's more positive than I think. I've let on a little bit, but I'm excited to see what happens. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
Battered Longhorn syndrome is just I've learned it. It's
from this year though. It's not even like I'm not even taking in previous years into the fact. I'm just like I don't know what the hell this team is, and we're near the end of the season and I can't tell you who are the Texas Longhorns.
Honestly, you might have a better chance at predicting of what you're going to see from this Texas team by rolling some Dungeons and Dragons dice.
Yeah,
and calculate based off of that.
Just do magic 8-ball analysis. I think that'll be the key. Lando, coach, any final thoughts?
I'm good.
I'm ready to battle for 4 quarters, man.
Hey, Lando is in the. I've seen that. He's been getting ready, bro. He's been down there. He's getting ready, dude.
I'm done. I'm tired of talking about it. Let's see.
Dude,
wrap it up.
Yep,
I agree.
Hey, it's put up or shut up time right now.
Yeah,
there it is.
100%. You guys head over to Inside Texas. The game thread is going to be crazy either way. And like I'm talking pages and pages. Go hang out there. We would love to see you. $1 for 1 month. Come on and join.
Every playback this week, maybe. YouTube TV and ESPN over. Maybe the videos don't get blocked anymore. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hey, I'll be ready to fire that thing off immediately right after win or loss.
Yeah, hopefully, man. Yeah, it was nice having YouTube TV back on the quad box. Disney, you rascals. You tried, but Google prevails, I guess. Who's my technical employer by working on YouTube. So shout out Google. Really, really like you guys. Great job. Should up our CPMs as well. Everyone, this was the pregame show. Of course, join us for the postgame. As soon as the clock strikes zeros, we will be on live to talk about Texas versus Georgia. Let's go get this win. And this was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Goodbye, y'all.